So do's and don'ts, the more practical things, right? As a potential missionary going out there. Do's, make sure that you are very, very thankful, right? When people give you things, express that. They believe in giving, but also like show your gratitude for that. So that's a definite do. Do's and don'ts kind of go hand in hand. So like if I say something, obviously it's applied to don't do that or do this. So I'll just kind of say stuff. In the mission, you will not wear your shoes in people's houses. So don't buy shoes that have laces on them, because you're gonna be very frustrated bending down and tying your shoes every single time. Buy slip-ons, but you'll take off your shoes every single time you go to someone's house. Even if it's a very run-down shack, you will always take off your shoes, always. It's very disrespectful to wear your shoes in someone's house. Never, ever reject food, ever. People work really hard to get that food, and it's very offensive when you say I don't want it, because it portrays that I'm too good for what you have to offer, and it will sever a relationship between that missionary and that person. So don't do that. Don't reject food. There's a proverb they say in Marshallese. It says "Konjap elguch pain ak," which means don't break the foot of a bird that feeds you. If someone's giving you something, accept it and take it, even if you don't like it. Don't do this, and I'll explain what this means. So, here in America, or in this culture, this is simply saying, "Hey, come here. I want to talk to you." This in Marshallese, or in the Marshall Islands, means it's more provocative, right? To do this, it has that connotation to it. So, little story to that. When I was brand new on my mission, and you'll make mistakes on your mission, trust me. But it was my second transfer. I was on eBay, and I was I just barely arrived like 3 days before. We went to church, and the church there is really packed, but there's tons of people, right? Which is great. And I love people. And I love kids too. So I saw a group of kids, right, standing in the corner just talking, and I was, I had like a little trick I do with them, to get them to laugh, kind of thing. So I went like this to them. I said, "Hey, come here. Yitok. And the missionaries, my companions, and the people in my zone, like, freaked out. They said, "Do not do that." They grabbed me, and they're just like, No. You don't do that. You don't do that. I'm like, what's wrong with that? Why can't I do that? And they're like, "No, you have to go like this." So a don't is this, and a do is this. This is how you'll call people. And when you get home from your mission, this is how you're always going to call people, because you're going to get so used to it. So don't do this. You always do this. That was so weird for me. I wasn't used to that. A don't is when two people are talking. It doesn't matter if they're across the street. So let's just say you have a road right here, and they're on opposite ends of the street, and they're talking to each other. Unless you're in a car, you can't control that, but you don't walk in front of them. And if you do, if you can't possibly go around, you have to duck your head, like crouch down, almost like you're army crawling, almost like you're completely hunched over, and you basically say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Jolak Bud," and you like go under, like you do not just walk straight up. It portrays an arrogance, and it's rude when people are talking. So that's a don't, which I found was really interesting. But I still do that. Like if people are talking, like I'll like duck down and go under, so you develop habits. Trying to think some other don'ts. Oh, don't with kids, don't pick up kids, and don't touch their heads. I say don't pick up kids because us missionaries, we can be a little rambunctious, and I accidentally dropped a kid once, and that was a really bad experience. Luckily, no one saw it except for my companion, so I felt really bad. So don't pick up kids. Just play with them with your with their hands or whatever, shake their hand or whatever, but don't pick them up. But as far as touching their head, the reason why they don't want you to do that is because in Marshallese custom or culture, they believe that, in a lot of other cultures really, they believe that the head is the closest thing to God, right? And their head is very sacred. So when you touch their head, it's almost like what's the word I'm looking for? It's almost degrading, that sacredness, between them and God. So touching their head is very, very bad. Don't do that. They'll be upset about that. Trying to think of other do's. If you're a missionary and you're going out and you don't feel like comfortable with like being outgoing and you're more introverted, a do is be extroverted. Be outgoing, be funny. Marshallese people love to laugh. Like that's one thing they love to do. They'll poke fun at you. They may push your buttons sometimes, but they just love to have a good time. And if you're very standoffish and closed, like you don't want to talk, because you feel uncomfortable, they'll see that. They'll recognize it. They'll feel it. And unfortunately, they won't want to talk to you, and that's just standard for really any missionary. So I've seen it before with missionaries that don't talk compared to the missionaries that do put themselves out there and try to develop relationships. And the missionaries that do that excel a lot quicker. But it is possible if you're that type of person and you're shy to break that shyness with Marshallese people. So try to develop those habits. Can't think of any other don'ts. Those are kind of the basics. Don't whistle at night. Don't whistle at night. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's not good at all.